Marco, the unstoppable juggernaut. First appearance, X-Men number 12, May in 1965. That's right, Juggy's OG. Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent, big ugly himself, Omari Ellis, feogrande on YouTube. And we're back with another episode of the Whatever We Want podcast, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, my running mate, one of my best friends in the world, the man who bears watching. Superjaz.
As nature intended. What's going on, everybody? Yes, as he said, I am your boy Superjaz, or you can call me Jazz, SJ, JT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And as he said, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We always talk about whatever we want. We do not lead this conversation. This conversation leads us, and we let these chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday. That is correct, good sir. Teach me how to juggy.
Teach you how to juggy?
Yeah, like jugging.
Well, first you need to have a brother who has magnetic powers. Then you need to have said brother go through. This is not funny. I don't know why I laughed. You need to have said brother go through.
All right, so I'm gonna stop you right now. He's not Magneto's brother.
Is he? I'm not even trying to be funny.
No, I'm laughing. Oh, you can't hear my ringtone probably because of Zoom. But right when I said he's not Magneto's brother, my ringtone just popped up. Da, da, da. Sorry, I forgot to mute my phone. Anyhow, no, he's Charles's
That's right.
stepbrother.
That's right.
He's Charles's stepbrother.
That's right.
So I'm going to go ahead and save you from your dark thoughts about what you were trying to say.
No, I was more so laughing at the fact that I was going to say, yeah. Well, if he was his brother, it was just, yeah. Then you need to have him go through one of the worst moments in like his really.
I was like, I know what you were saying. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and. So you don't have to beat yourself up over the joke that wouldn't have applied anyway. So
have your brother be the biggest telepath in the world. There you go.
Yes, your stepbrother.
And then really,
and have your dad beat you while he doesn't beat your stepbrother because your stepbrother's using his mental powers to tell him not to. But he beats you, and then has said stepbrother cheat on tests and stuff, and somehow use telepathy to help him cheat at track. Still not sure how that works, but that was a thing Charles admitted to doing in high school. He would run track, and he would time his burst of speeds. Like, he would save his energy for, like, exactly when his opponent was about to, or right after, so he wouldn't exacerbate himself because he could just read their mind like, okay, I'm gonna put my extra force here. He's like, all right, well, if I know that, I can adjust my time. I'm like, just fucking run. Like, just run and run hard. If you can adjust your releases, crazy ass. And then have said brother become a warrior with soldier with you overseas in Asia and find the random ancient temple, find a jewel, have the temple collapse, and have your brother leave you for dead. And you have to climb out under the rubble of the temple.
Sidorak bullshit or whatever that shit is.
Sidorak. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I always said Sidorak. But yeah, the Crimson Jewel of Sidorak. Well, Crimson Ruby of Sidorak.
And that's what made him so like ridiculously strong.
He's the avatar of, a fictional deity. So he's an unstoppable force of nature until he's stopped. But technically he's just momentum based. Like, if he gets going, nothing can stop him unless he really wants to. And even then sometimes he's moving a bit too much.
He's an immovable object until
No, he's the unstoppable force. Immovable object would be Blob.
Right, well, until WrestleMania 3 and then Hulk Hogan comes in the picture. I'm so funny.
But yeah.
I'm so funny.
He Yeah, but no, he's very weak to mental attacks because Charles actually wouldn't even need to read his mind to know what traumatizes him the most, but he's a mind reader and he can just make him remember anything that he wants while attacking his mind and psyche, which is why Charles is so busted and why a lot of the main people that know that they hate Charles specifically wear helmets that protect them against telepathic attack.
There's only two I can think of.
I said the main people that really hate the dude.
Is there more than two?
I think, well, Magneto deals with him the most because obviously main villain, and Kane wants this man dead. Super duper dead. So he knows, like, if there's anyone he'd be... He also apparently hates Spider-Man because apparently he shows up a lot in Spider-Man comics, enough to where they include him in some of the games.
Professor X?
No.
Juggernaut?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But his main...
Professor X hates Spider-Man?
Juggernaut's main reason for existing as a character is to kill a nigga named Charles. So, and Magneto being the main villain of the X-Men, you gotta be capable of at least dealing with their true leader. Other people that are after Charles generally, not everybody, but often have telepathic powers of their own, so helmets ain't really the way they do things. Like Shadow King, who re-paralyzed him in the early 90s, who Professor X killed in a bar. Like, he killed Shadow King's physical body and trapped him on the astral plane. That guy doesn't wear a helmet, but he's a psychic entity. He's a Charles level telepath. He's just saying he's like maybe a tier below, but he's really fucking powerful.
He re-paralyzed this man.
Re-paralyzed.
This man was paralyzed, somehow overcame the paralyzation, and then this motherfucker said, no, motherfucker, fuck you twice.
Well, you see, Lucifer paralyzed him the first time.
As in the actual devil, or just some dude who went by Lucifer?
I think it's just some dude who went by Lucifer.
Okay.
May have even been an alien.
The actual devil was saying, I'm paralyzing this man.
I know, but I wanted to say it like that because his name is Lucifer. But I just want to be like, so Lucifer paralyzed him the first time. No, some dude, he dropped some rocks on him. Like, it was a villainous dude, may have been an alien even. Dropped some rocks on him, broke his spine. He's been in a wheelchair up until about the 80s when his body got infested by a fucking brood. And by a brood queen, and started turning him into an alien. But luckily by then he was the consort of the queen of an alien empire of their own in the Shi'ar, and they got enough technology for when the X-Men beat him, they were able to take enough of his DNA and himself and consciousness and pretty much give him a better new body that it's the same dude. It's like literally genetically him, and in mind it's him, but his original body's done. But now he can walk. Until Shadow King fought him on the astral plane, like, I'm back 40 years later, nigga. What? Yeah, we're fighting on the psychic plane. Oh, you gonna beat me again? Paralyze your spine on the astral plane. Your real spine ain't paralyzed, but you gonna think it is, and your mind's the most powerful on the planet, so good luck with that.
So it wasn't really paralyzed,
but it was.
He made it think it was, to the point where
he paralyzed his astral self. So to the very core of his being, I guess, was paralyzed. Now, I think he eventually did get back, like years later. Pretty much whatever writer decided they wanted Professor X back in the wheelchair. They hated a walking Professor X. They wanted him back in the wheelchair. And then we get 90s hover chair X Charles.
Which is the one that I'm used to, yeah.
That's when we get 90s hover chair Charles. The hover chair being Shi'ar technology as well. At least in the comics. I think the Shi'ar didn't show up till when they showed up in the comics as far as the 90s cartoon goes. But yeah, anyway. Charles, I forget exactly what other way he gets legit paralyzed. Then he gets unparalyzed by some random healer wearing a metal mask that they found in a prison, in a metal prison. some dude named Zorn. But he's got healing powers. He heals Charles until later when he reveals, haha, Charles, I didn't heal you. Also, I'm not Zorn. I'm Magneto. You should have seen it a long time ago. But how did you heal my spine? Nano Sentinels. What are Nano Sentinels? Don't worry about it. They're going to be used for like this early 2000s period, and then we're never going to see them again. But he's like, yeah, I held your spine together with nano sentinels to make you think I healed you. But now that I'm revealing myself, nope. You're reparalyzed. That's about early 2000s. And then Magneto goes crazy, blows up a huge chunk of New York, and Wolverine stabs him and kills him while Jean sacrifices herself and dies. Only to later find out.
Oh, it was crazy?
He never really went full on, let me re-Holocaust people. But he was trying to go for that. Also, he was drugged out on some like mutant drug shit. Anyway, the writers are like, that's not the way we want Magneto to actually go out. So that was some dude pretending to be Magneto, pretending to be Zorn. Magneto and Zorn are both separate people over here. I don't know why Zorn needed to actually exist, but some writer was like, I liked the Zorn character before the reveal. You know what? Magneto was pretending to be him, but we were already saying that guy was pretending to be Magneto. Well, I guess he was pretending to be Magneto, pretending to be the other guy. What? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, Zorn's a thing that actually can heal, and his head's a star. That's why he wears a metal mask.
I can imagine reading that because you explained it was like, wait.
Now, this all wasn't like immediate. This is all over time.
I know that. I know. But I mean, reading it though, coming to those like conclusions where it was like he was pretending to be him. Like actually, he was pretending to be him, Like,
well, the only reason
reading that was probably like, wait, what the fuck?
The only reason Fake Nito was able to pretend to be Zorn in the first place was because Cassandra Nova, another Professor X villain, but she's Professor X's twin sister that he killed in the womb, or he thought he did. Turns out she's like an embodiment of evil, like evil female version of Charles. And some creature called them a Moondry, which is very rare. The Shi'ar obviously know that this kind of creature exists. Of course they do. They're the Shi'ar. They're an alien race. Why wouldn't they? I forget exactly what the thing is, but I will say Cassandra Nova had one of the better debuts for any villain out there. It was kind of annoying for the first chapter you see her because she's just walking through the jungle with some random nigga. And then she's like, hey, random dude. By the way, we've been talking while all this shit's going on with the X-Men and their own thing. It keeps cutting to us. You do know who you related to, right? Yeah, but I don't know why it matters. Yeah, yo, I forget exactly if it's uncle, grandfather, what the case was. Bottom line is, dude was a Trask. What is a Trask? Where does that last name come from? Bolivar Trask is the guy who invented the Sentinels. So she's like, by the way, I needed your blood and DNA. Kills him. I needed so that I could take control over some Sentinels that I had set up. Wait, what? Also, boop, this is happening literally right now and no one knows. Next thing you know, a bunch of Sentinels show up on Genosha, which by then was under Magneto's control. He had liberated the island, but then he was a mutant terrorist that had his own island for mutants, so the world still didn't like it. They blew up the island, killing millions, I think like 6 million mutants, and we thought Magneto as well. So Magneto goes disappearing, and we get this guy that we saved named Zorn, joins the X-Men. Eventually Zorn takes Barnell Bowhusk, Beak, as well as some others that were in that kind of class, because Beak is like, he got the shit in of the Warren mutation. Like, Warren's got these bird-like, beautiful, angelic wings. They are bird-like because they like got hollow bones and shit. That's why they had to get removed when they got busted the way they did, because they weren't gonna fucking heal. But and that led to Archangel. But rather than looking like some angelic ass motherfucker, Beak has got some shitty wings he can't really use. He looks deformed. He would be a Morlock, which are the sword dwellers because of how ugly they are, if the Morlocks hadn't all been killed by this point. Like, twice. So, but he's in a class of other people who are rejects like him, including some black bug bitch named Angel. For those of you who saw X-Men First Class, that's who they were referencing in that movie. I didn't realize that till I read the comics, because I was like, why are you putting Angel in the movie but not the actual character Angel? Oh, it's because her name literally is Angel, blah blah blah. But she embarked. Her and Beak, they end up having some weird bug bird babies. That's a whole thing in and of itself.
They were like abominations or some shit.
Well, she decided to fuck Beak as kind of a prank. Like, haha, I'm gonna fuck the ugly kid, you know, do. And then next thing you know, she got knocked up. And yeah, they had some weird bug bird babies. I forget exactly how the story ends for the two of them. I know in one alternate future, Beak does end up looking like a cool ass bird man, like a badass fucking hawk dude, which is cool. Apparently he grows up in that alternate future to look sick. But he doesn't in this one. He looks ugly as shit, and he's in a class of other ugly as shit people. Now, Beak doesn't join Zorn, and then the class is led by Zorn. But Zorn one day takes a lot of those reject students and stuff in the woods like, this is a good team building exercise. Hey, you guys want to know a secret? Takes off helmet. We don't see what it is. And then later, haha, I was Magneto. And now my special class is going to help me take over the school. I don't think Beak helps out with that. But then he's like, also, we're going to be drugged up. Quentin Quire was also involved in this. I mentioned him, Kid Omega, as my cue. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of shit. They started believing the whole Magneto was right because 6 million mutants died. So Magneto became kind of a public martyr. And they're like, Magneto was right, posters are everywhere. Meanwhile, thanks to Cassandra Nova pretending to be Charles, not even Mystique. I thought it was Mystique, but no, it was Cassandra Nova pretending to be Charles because she's his twin sister or whatever. She outed the X-Men and Xavier School as a school for mutants on national television, on national news. So now they don't even have a safe haven at their own house, and for the rest of history, people just always know that's where the muties are. Anyway, but Cassandra Nova debuted by killing 6 million mutants. If you're gonna be a villain, that's the way to debut. The biggest murder count, like she has the second biggest murder count of people that hate mutants behind Bolivar Trask because he invented Sentinels. And 6 million of her 6 million kills, even though she directed them, are still only really possible because this nigga made Sentinels to begin with. Also, Sentinels kill a whole bunch of other people that ain't associated with Cassandra Nova. So that's why I'm like, no, he would have to have the most because Sentinels.
Did they call her Cassandra Nova because it's supposed to kind of sound like Cassie Nova?
I think that was the joke by the writers, but her name is Cassandra Nova. But yes, Cassie Nova.
Like Casa Nova, Cassie Nova. Yeah. I just listening I just get reminded every time I listen to this shit. I'm just like, comic book lore is just so complicated.
Oh, it is very much so.
Good God. The only thing that like I can't even say rivals it, but comes close to the convolution is anime lore. Because anime lore is fucking complicated as fuck too.
Yeah, depending on the series. The longer the series, the more in-depth and complicated things get. However, anime lore or animes in general have the benefit of the whole long, even if it is a long form series, it's all written by one person.
Most of the time, yeah.
Like,
that's true.
Like, people will talk about how worldwide number of sales wide of a comic let's say One Piece, has outsold Batman and Superman, or not Superman yet, but Batman at this point on a worldwide scale for just specifically copies of comic books. Obviously, the Batman name has more value monetarily than One Piece. Calm down, people. But it's a series that has been going on since I think 97, so 25 plus years. It's nearing its last saga. It'll probably wrap out at 30 years, while Batman's been around for damn near 100. But Batman's been around for damn near 100, and if you want to talk about Batman from day one to now, you can't. One, because DC keeps resetting their universe. Yeah. Marvel did it, I think, once or twice, maybe twice at the most. DC does it like every 5 years. It's like, and reset. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, DC fans. I don't read enough DC comics, but I do know y'all do that often. And that's not a problem, or that's not necessarily a bad thing, because things can get really complicated really fast. But they get complicated in American comics and stuff. Let's take X-Men, which has been around for 50 years. Or it was around 50 years before, without the universe resetting, compared to One Piece's 30 years that it will probably end up at. One Piece's 30 years is all Eiichiro Oda. It's the same guy from start to finish. He's had a story in mind, and even if he admittedly improvises at times and adds shit, it's still coming from him. He knows it goes with the rest of his story. It's complicated and in depth, but it's not as crazy when you think about it, because he knows everything, where it's coming from and how to connect it. American comics, like your X-Men, started in the 60s with Stan Lee and I'm pretty sure Jack Kirby, because that was the combo back then. So eventually Stan and Jack get off of the project. It kind of stagnates, and then it's Chris Claremont. Now, luckily, Chris Claremont had it for about 16 years, from like 75 to 91. And he was the only author. There were different artists, but he was the author. So he had the rare chance to actually go this long and be like, I'm putting this here. I can do the Phoenix Saga and set up seeds for a whole bunch of shit. Then set up seeds for Inferno. Set up seeds for, let's introduce Genosha. Let's introduce, the Shadow King. Yeah, I can do a random chapter about Charles being in Egypt and dealing with some evil mutant telepathically, and then bring that telepathic guy he fought back years later. I can do stuff like that, because that's not too complicated. That in and of itself, the interactive between. There's a world with superpowers, Jazz. So, but come on now, time travel, that's its whole thing. But that's also his fault. But the bottom line is, he did that. But then once the 90s came, they're changing like authors every 2 years. Same book, different authors. So that's when you start getting people that are like, hey, here's a character he killed off. Or hell, when they started adding side books, like the whole complication with Jean and Madeline, and she's a clone of Jean, and Jean's still alive, and all of this shit. When Chris killed off Jean was supposed to stay dead. That's what he thought. It was the swan song for Jean Grey, and with the Phoenix Saga, she was supposed to be dead. But the person really wanted to make a side series with the original 5 X-Men who weren't doing anything at the time. And even though the Marvel writers were like, well, Jean's dead, but you can use Dazzler. I don't want to use Dazzler. I want to use Jean. But we're trying to push Dazzler. We even put her in the arcade game.
Right. That was why she was in the game. They wanted her to be like the next big.
Well, just think about it. A lot of times when you get the obscure characters, they're going to be like, we want to push this. It's probably because Marvel themselves is pushing it, like, put this person in the game. Now, I like Dazzler.
They probably wanted her to be the next.
That's who I meant to do for A. I forget who I ended up. Oh, I did Amara because it was more hilarious, like Cable. Allison Blair, Dazzler. That's who I planned to do for A the whole time.
It is a stereotypical white girl name.
She's a white girl. She's a fucking pop star.
Oh, Dazzler was a pop star?
Yeah, she has the best fucking laser light shows on the planet.
I wonder why.
Well, her power is to turn sound into light.
You couldn't fucking tell that I was being sarcastic.
Well, you knew she did light. You knew she did glittery things, but it's literally to turn sound into light. So the light shows she has are perfectly appropriate to whatever music she's playing.
I bet they are. I bet the lights are timed perfectly with the music.
And then even if she doesn't want to, or even if she's not just trying to wow you at a laser light show, she can, you know how people can get seizures from like flashing lights and shit?
Yeah.
She can pretty much, if not just straight up seizurize somebody, she can confuse you with enough flashing lights to just, you've been dazzled. But, yeah. Also, the stronger the sound, the stronger the light. And when she found out how to physically hurt people with light and like actually shoot lasers at people, that got more scary. When she's like lasers. One time, one of my favorite Dazzler combo attacks was, I forget who pissed the X-Men off this bad, but the nigga got attacked in his penthouse at night by Aurora Monroe Storm, flying outside his window like carrying Dazzler or something, and Storm point blank makes a lightning strike where they are, and Dazzler turns the thunder from that lightning strike into like a fuck you beam and just destroys the nigga's apartment. I was like, damn. I was like, Storm's gonna strike him with lightning, you're fucked. But I'm like, wait, why is Dazzler like setting up and it's just...
Did you see Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania?
I have not.
Okay.
I still need to see Wakanda Forever.
Yeah. I don't know if we talked about it while we're recording or not, but I remember I told you Wakanda Forever really is good.
Yeah, I told you Angela Bassett deserved the Oscar.
I will.
Well, maybe not deserved the Oscar, but was more deserving than Jamie Lee. But Stephanie Hsu also was a good candidate.
I wouldn't either say that she was more deserving or not. I will say that all three of those women, as far as I'm concerned, because I have seen both movies that they were nominated from, and I say all three of those women, as far as I'm concerned, all have a claim staked as to why they should have won.
Jamie did a great job, but her character was like literally in like 5 minutes of the movie. I don't think you need to be in the movie for like 5 minutes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Stephanie or Angela should have gotten it just because their roles were actually like the supporting role of the film.
Because I mean, Jamie, and I know you being hyperbolic, but Jamie's in it for, she's in it for a decent amount of time. And the whole thing is, it's probably the most un-Jamie Lee Curtis that we've seen Jamie Lee Curtis.
I will agree because I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, people. Sometimes actors can look exactly like themselves, but if they're doing a good job, I don't realize it till I see the credits. Jamie in this movie, I will say that I knew I recognized her. I could not put a name to the person. And then it got to the end, and I was like, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, oh my God, that was Jamie Lee Curtis. A similar thing was, and this is when I was much younger, and it was a more stupid realization than the Jamie Lee Curtis one, but it's still something that I did, just to give you an example. Went to see the movie Collateral.
Great movie.
Jamie Foxx, with the taxi.
Jamie Foxx, Tom Cruise, Jada.
Yeah, I already know I don't need to suggest that for TGHS because I saw it with Bill and some other people. I did not realize till the credits that was Tom Cruise.
Okay, he looked like Tom Cruise. His hair was different. That's the only thing.
He looked familiar. Now, like I said, he looked familiar. but he was doing a good job. I didn't realize. I just said it was dumber than the Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah,
realization.
that
I
was,
didn't
bro.
watch a lot of Tom Cruise growing up, but I knew who he was. But I started it. I prefaced
Oh,
it
yes,
by
you did.
saying it was stupid. Nigga, I'm the kind of guy that took a couple months to realize a character named Robo Kai was a robot version of a character named Kai.
It took you some months.
Yeah. Now, I didn't play the game every day for those months, but, rather than day one being like, oh, there's a character named Kai Kisuke and a character named Robo Kai. Because the character name was Kai Kisuke, and my friends always said Kai Kisuke, they never said Kai. This is Guilty Gear, by the way, video game. They never said just Kai. They just said Kai Kisuke every time. Yeah, Kai Kisuke does this. Kai Kisuke does that. I don't really play the game at that time. I didn't know what Guilty Gear was until I went to college. I didn't know it existed. And then they also, when they talk about RoboKai, they're like, oh, RoboKai is this. And I would never see him on the screen at the same time. But it wasn't until I did see them on the screen at the same time, and I saw the game, didn't put Kai Kisuke, they just put Kai at one corner, and then they had RoboKai, like, for the names. And I'm like, now I get it. RoboKai is a robot version of Kai Kisuke. They're like, are you stupid? Yes, apparently. I didn't realize that.
This is my question for that one. Did he look?
He looked like a robot version of Kai Kisuke.
Because if he looked very different, okay, he pretty much looked like a robotic version of this Kai.
He looked like. That's why when they were on the screen at the same time. That's why when they were on the screen at the same time, I put it together.
I'm trying to help your claim. Good Lord.
That's what I said. When I saw them, now, had they played them against each other on that first night, sure. But everybody hated Kai Kisuke. So no one ever picked him. They picked RoboKai all the time. It wasn't until I actually, I started playing Kai more, and then someone picked RoboKai against me. I was like, oh, shit. And I knew nothing about Guilty Gear lore. Why is there a robotic version of Kai? I'm still not sure. And I watched the video series by a guy named Wooly Versus on YouTube, where he goes over the whole lore of Guilty Gear, which, talk about complicated lores, fighting game lores. Guilty Gear is an anime fighting game.
Yeah, and I just talked about how anime
exactly.
And then fighting game lore is convoluted. So just
it's an anime ass fighting game. But there's a 7-part series called Heaven or Hell on YouTube. And if you ever just want to go down the rabbit hole of Guilty Gear lore, it's all the lore leading up to the most recent game, Shrive. And if you want the lore from the game Shrive, the story mode is literally a movie. You're just watching the story happen, and it's anime as fuck.
Kind of like what's that shit? Metal Gear.
Kind of like Metal Gear. It is a Westaboo ass anime as fuck game.
Also, yeah, when you watch the videos, the FMVs and shit in the games, and some of them shits go over a fucking hour.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid 4.
Good God.
Solid 4 legit has one, if not two. Yeah, Solid 4 legit has one, if not two, cutscenes that are 90 minutes long.
That's crazy.
That's
crazy. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, I agree.
You play the video game and get to a point where you watch a whole movie before you continue. What? What the fuck?
But it's okay. I won't say it's good, but it because it's complicated, and some people will say a lot of the decisions they made, especially in 4, where they were retconning shit or whatever, weren't the best decisions. And I'll agree. A lot of the decisions they made in 4, they could have done without. Some people were like, we didn't need a 4 at all. We needed a 4 because 3, though it was a prequel and technically answered a question 2 had, it also didn't answer the question that 2 had. And that question is, who the fuck are the Patriots? Yes, the villains in the series of Metal Gear Solid are the Patriots, and I do think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
The
right
bottom
now,
line
everybody,
is-
he's being for real. Everybody, this isn't a joke. It really that's true shit.
and
Right.
I do think that's hilarious.
Irony is not lost, but no, this time, right? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you want to talk about funny stuff involving me in that name? A friend of mine, we or some of my friends, we used to do karaoke, and we did it at this place run by a dude, a DJ who called himself Corn Dog. His karaoke though also had the game Rock Band if you wanted to play that. So you could either just do normal karaoke or you could play Rock Band on the stage in front of the rest of the bar. So we would do the Rock Band thing.
I believe you've talked about going to the Rock Band place.
Yes. So that group or whatever, we did that, and then there was a anime convention that's no longer a thing called JCon. Down here. It was their last year or second to last year, they decided to have a rock band competition, and we entered. And I think this has actually led into the karaoke. But I had a buddy, Jeffrey. I've mentioned him on here as Jeffrey. Jeffrey cosplayed as Liquid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. So, because he had the long ass blonde hair, it was white, and he had the trench coat. It was real easy for him to do, and he had a fucked up arm, which, if you know Metal Gear, because of a bike accident, but if you know Metal Gear Solid 2, or Metal Gear Solid, Liquid loses his arm and shit, blah blah blah. So it was even better for him to be like, I still live through this arm. He made the jokes more than anybody. Anyway, we won a rock band competition. And we thought it was cool. And Jeffrey wanted to go back the next year. And he wanted to, for the sake of showmanship, he wanted to do the Who song, We Won't Get Fooled Again. Now, because he really liked the Who. I didn't really like the song. The song was really long. It had a cool part, but overall. If you don't know that song, you know CSI Miami?
I mean, I know.
Do you know the memes from CSI Miami? Where he puts the sunglasses on? Yeah! That song.
Oh shit! Okay, because I'm like, I know of the Who, but I don't know any Who.
Yeah, I didn't know that song existed until
I don't know
Rock Band.
any Who.
But yes, I didn't know of that song until Rock Band. Anyhow, he wanted to go on the next year to do a kind of a showmanship thing. He wanted to do that song because the first part of the song is kind of whatever, and then there's a part where it breaks down. There's like silence or just like a little, and then the drums come in, and then eventually leading up to the and then like one last little verse, and then it kind of plays off and ends. So he had an idea. We go up the next year, not with the same name we used the year before, but to go up there and be like, oh, we go in as GW and the Patriots as a reference to Metal Gear Solid 2.
Who is GW?
So Metal Gear Solid 2, there's a whole lot of shit going on, but eventually there's a deal with an AI called GW. And that's dealing with a lot of things. But GW and the Patriots is what he wanted to call ourselves. Okay. When we go up, we kind of half-ass 80% of the song and just kind of not entertaining. And then when it hits the low part, we walk off the stage, costume change during it real quick, drummer comes out, and then the rest of us come back, and he comes back, in his Liquid outfit, and he's like, we're the group from last year to so-and-so, we beat GW and the Patriots, and we're here to rock you, and just be like, aha. And the main reason he wanted to do this, and why he thought it was perfect to do with this particular song, was because the last words of the song are, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. So, meet the new boss, us, same as the old boss, because we were just playing, but we just beat him off stage. I didn't want to do it. One, because I didn't want to be unentertaining on purpose for 80% of a song. Because if there was more song, after the Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss? Sure, but there was also a problem I had with the song itself. Just Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss. And then it just kind of goes off. But I get the message behind the song, calm down, people, because it's a whole song about revolting and everything against the people. We won't get fooled again, but by the time they revolutionize and win, they beat the new boss and it's the same as the old boss. Damn, we got fooled again. That's the message behind it. Anyway, so yes, I get it, people.
Yay,
but I didn't want to do it, one, because I didn't want to be unentertaining on purpose, and two, I didn't want to be calling myself the Patriots. So we didn't do that. Also, J-Con helped us by not being a thing the following year.
Y'all didn't. Y'all want. He had a whole idea, but it never happened.
To do our second year, because we won it the first year. He wanted to come back the next year to defend the title or whatever, but he wanted to have that be our performance to try and win a rock band competition the next year. And I'm like, we're trying to win a competition and we're going to be boring on purpose for 80% of our song? To possibly do a thing when the year before we had him chug like a whole bottle of soda during the fucking solo, like during the solo for the song. You know Coheed and Cambria, right?
No.
So there's a group called Coheed and Cambria. They had a song called Welcome Home. For the people at home, you may know who Coheed and Cambria is.
Yeah, I know.
But they had a song called Welcome Home, and that song has a pretty lengthy solo during it. And during the solo of the song, it would help if you knew, but you don't, so whatever. But during the solo of the song, when we were performing, myself and I want to say I've been referring to him as X. Myself and X were on the guitar and bass. Because I put the quotes to remind people that this is Rock Band, the video game. None of us can really play instruments. Jeffrey was on vocals. During the solo, what's his name? X was on guitar. He starts playing. I'm just doing the bass thing. I had a mask on, kind of like I had a Jabberwockies-esque mask on because this is right around the time that Greatest Dance Battle was a thing, and I just thought that was really cool. I didn't realize Bucket.
You said Greatest Dance Battle, best dance crew.
Jabberwockies. Yes.
Best dance crew.
Okay.
I wasn't trying to like correct you. I was just throwing it out there real quick.
Gotcha. America's Best Dance Crew. Thank you. I had that on, a top hat and a trench coat to go with Jeffrey's trench coat, but Jeffrey was dressed as Liquid Snake. I was just dressed as I want to stand out on stage because that's what I do. But I also didn't realize Buckethead was a thing, and Buckethead wears Jabberwocky's mask before Jabberwocky's, and he has a KFC bucket on his head. So some people thought I was just trying to be a wannabe Buckethead. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to rip off Buckethead. I'm trying to rip off the Jabberwockies. But not even then, not if I'm ripping off anybody. But the Jabberwockies don't wear a top hat. They don't wear a trench coat. They just wear a cool mask.
Rip it off. You picked the wrong person.
They just wear this cool mask. I'm not trying to be a Jabberwocky. I just thought it was a cool type of mask, and I had one. Anyway.
You started popping and locking.
Anyway, I can't. That's why I'm like, I'm not trying to rip off the Jabberwockies. I can't dance. I can't sing, and I can't dance. But come on, people, give us a chance. If you know the reference, you shouldn't. But if you do, you're good. Anyway, I'm just saying, it's highly unlikely anybody gets the reference I just made. There we go. So, Jeffrey goes off stage. We had Abe on drums. I'm not sure if I've called him Abe's, or if I've called him Casanova, or if I've called him something else on this show. But I'm calling him Abe now because the nigga looks like Abraham Lincoln. You've met him. You've met X as well. Anyway, he was on drums.
Previously saying that.
He was on drums. Jeffrey had moved by the time you came down here.
It sounded like you said drums, but not MG. Think about it. I was like, wait, what? Okay. He's on drugs, is what it song you said.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is why for a second.
Yeah, he was on drugs. He might be. I don't know his life. The bottom line is.
No, I thought you were casually being like, he was on drugs. Like, the reason why he smelled bad is he was on. That's why I thought you were casually just be like, that's why he's on drugs. Like, anyway, like, bitch, you don't gloss over that shit. But no. You said drums.
Yes, he was on the drums. He was always the drummer. He smelled terrible. He was always the drummer. X was always on guitar. Jeffrey and I would switch off vocals and bass whenever we played because I like the vocals because it was the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing in all of gaming. Rock band vocals. You get 100% on everything. I know. I've done it. Bottom line is, I also did bass because it was easier than drums or guitar. The thing that's closest to actually playing the real thing in Rock Band is drums. Because you gotta be on rhythm and you gotta boop, 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 step, boop, boop, boop. The guitar and bass, you're limited to like 5 buttons and the thing. So you're only really doing the motions up here. You're not having to go up and down. Though the Rock Band guitar did have those same 5 buttons down below if you really wanted to do your high-pitched notes where you should be doing them. I digress. Anyway, solo. As X is doing the solo, I didn't realize he was doing it, but I was like, I need to do something to just sit here. So I decided I'm gonna drop to my knees, like, slowly go down and play, so I'm at least doing something. X simultaneously, of his own volition, does the same thing. So it ends up being a choreographed drop to the knees and enjoy the fuck out of playing the song. Jeffrey, while this is going on, gets off the stage, goes into the crowd, grabs a soda, and chugs the whole thing from start to beginning during the solo, then gets back on stage and finishes the song. Great showmanship. It's what made us win. We got to do a bonus song, but we didn't get to pick it.
So what'd y'all do?
We had to do Detroit Rock City by Kiss. Good song. I didn't know it. But I wanted to do, we wanted to switch off the vocals. And I'm like, why do I have to do this song that I am unfamiliar with on stage? Because, oh my God, the guy running the contest is a big Kiss fan. Because he was like 50-something. And that's his favorite song ever. And he was also, there was a dude who was singing and playing at the same time and showing off some like actual diversity and talent that I think he got second place, but he didn't do enough rock star moves. Literally, our knee drop while Jeffrey chugged was enough for the guy to be like, and they should win. Also, they did that really cool thing, which we did a good job. I mean, we still got, I think, like 95 or something % overall on the song. Not bad, given added shit like dropping to knees and shit that we didn't practice.
Y'all had like, obviously y'all had like a whole crowd watching and all that shit.
Well, it's at a convention.
I'm assuming they were like going crazy when y'all were doing y'all shit.
Probably.
Oh, you don't remember?
I was so focused on trying to make sure
that you hit the notes.
Yes. Last thing I want to do is fail a song in front of 1,000 people. Well, not 1,000. There was nowhere near 1,000. Maybe like 100. I don't know how many people there was. It might have been more than 100. I've never been good at counting crowds.
No, the difference between 100 and 1,000, but I
just said
I got you.
It's not 1,000, nowhere near it. But I don't think it was as low as 100 either. It was somewhere in between. Well, I'm just not good at counting crowds. It was at a convention though, an anime convention. Anyway, we won a PS2.
Oh.
Sasuke.
That's how long ago it was.
He's blocked by the bottle Duck is sitting on, but I got a little Sasuke thing figurine that's still in the room today, and a copy of one of the Naruto games, Naruto Ultimate Ninja.
That's how long ago it was. Y'all got a PS2.
Yep. We got a free PS2. So that was cool. I think we gave the PS2 to X because he hadn't had a PS2 yet. They gave me the Sasuke figurine and the Naruto game because I was the only person in the group that liked Naruto at that time. And yeah, and then I was like, damn, I shouldn't have said I liked this series because that's just how I think. I'm like, oh, if everybody else hates this group, they're definitely gonna look at me weird for liking it. But it was too late. The cat was already out of the bag, so whatever. Anyway,
because you happen to be the first one that you to say you liked it, so you thought that everybody else would be upset.
I knew they didn't like it
because you spoke up quick first or something.
They didn't. When my friends don't like something, or not even just my friends. I'm not even gonna say just my friends. I'm gonna say humanity, and we see it all the time. We've argued about opinions and stuff. People equate opinions to intelligence.
What you said before, but
if you don't like something that somebody else likes, they're gonna think you're stupid for not liking it, or vice versa.
A lot of times,
and they're going to talk. They're going to talk to other people who think like them about said people. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, that is the subtext.
So if you get here and you're like, Fall Out Boy is the dope. If you get to a group and you're like, and they're like, Fall Out Boy is the worst thing to ever happen to music since music happened, and these fucking idiots of the modern day listen to this bullshit that isn't real music. How the fuck could anyone like this group? You're gonna be like, damn. Guess I'm not listening to Fall Out Boy. And then you go to your hometown and everybody there likes Fall Out Boy, and you're like, I don't know what to think anymore. I think I do like some of their songs though.
It's like how me and Ibn, shout out to Big Bro, how me and Ibn have said that, not that I just love Nickelback, but we have said that whole fucking back in like the early 2010s, mid 2010s, when everybody was talking about how Nickelback was the worst band ever, and it became a thing to say Nickelback was the worst band ever. We were like, bruh, Nickelback is not that bad. It just became cool to say Nickelback was the worst band ever. So yes.
You're not a Nickelback fan, James.
No, I like Nickelback. I mean, I'm not like a Nickelback stan. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, Chad Kroger, what are you doing, Avril? Y'all should have never got like broke up. Like, no, it's not. It ain't that goddamn serious. Yes, but I do, bruh.
Well,
Hero,
people, this is the last episode of
Hero, good song. Rockstar, really fun song.
Which one was Rockstar?
Hey, I wanna be a rock star. I want to do, he started listing all this shit. I want a bathroom I can play baseball in, and all that shit.
I'm not a big Nickelback fan. I will say there are two songs of theirs that I'm okay with. One, I thought Hero because I was a kid and it was involved in the Spider-Man fucking movie.
It was the first Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was in the Spider-Man movie, so
it was
I was going to associate it with Spider-Man. So Hero, I thought that was okay when I was younger. I stopped listening to it as I got older. And then I liked it in the sense that it ended up being used, and that was the Raw theme song. We're going out tonight.
That was Nickelback. That
makes sense. Those are literally, I think, I'm not gonna say literally, because there could be other songs of theirs that I don't know. But those are the only two songs that I kind of tolerate by Nickelback. I kind of understand the hate, but I'm not going to hate you because you have a bad opinion. Am I going to possibly mention Nickelback as another one of your things that you like that other people don't?
Well, this is the thing.
Maybe, but I'm not going to judge you for it.
This is the thing. When everybody, because it goes up, where the conversation was going. When everybody was talking about Nickelback was the worst band ever, that was because everybody else was saying it. Nickelback is not the worst band ever.
Well, no, now people say that's Maroon 5.
Well, the problem with Maroon 5 has gone on for so long, and just like Black Eyed Peas, you have an option where you can say, I want to make good music, or I want to be legendary and I want to be stupidly popular. And both Black Eyed Peas and Maroon 5 said, bro, I want to be stupidly popular. Fuck making good music. So both of them said, we gonna fucking make music that the mainstream will eat up.
Yeah.
Fuck if it's good or not. because it might be good, but we don't care about good. We care about what is the mainstream like.
Well, I feel like that's the argument people make for your Fallouts and Nickelbacks as well. In fact, my friends that have stated their hatreds for Nickelback and Maroon 5 both is it was so weird, and it took me forever to try and grasp what these people's musical tastes were, because they would hate on, let's say, the Killers in their first album because in their mind every song sounded the same. Although I always ask them, how does Andy Your Star sound like Midnight Show? I still don't understand. Tell me how those are the same song, whatever. You want to tell me Midnight Show and Somebody Told Me are somehow the same song? Sure. That at least they're both upbeat. Andy Your Star is slow as shit. And he's all, hey, shut up, hey, shut up. Meanwhile, Midnight Show is, drive faster, more. It's crazy. Bottom line is, I'm not sure how every song on that album sounds the same, but okay, you hate Killers because you, with your studied music theory and shit, you say every song on there sounds the same. Cool. But then you turn around and say you hate Fall Out Boy at the time because every song sounded different. And I was like, what? How does that add up?
Not to condemn your friends, but people do stuff like that. I've noticed just when it comes to having opinions of certain things that can be divisive, like music or just shit in pop culture, like movies, like sports, whatever. A lot of times people do that where they will say, I don't like this for this, but I don't like this for some completely contradictory ass reason as to why I didn't like this.
If they didn't have a song they sell, they trick you into listening to their music. If it sounded like their other songs, you'd know it was crap from the get-go, and you wouldn't have to listen to any of it. You could just change it. You don't have to listen to like more than 30 seconds of it and to realize, shit, it's Fall Out Boy, which I think was the argument he made or something along those lines. Dude was weird. His opinions stink. Just like him. No.
Just like what?
I said just like him.
Oh. On accident. Ain't that a bitch?
Nope. That's not what I said.
Well, you know it's not a bitch? Following us on our respective socials is actually be far from a bitch. It'll actually be pretty fucking cool. So if you want to follow us on our respective socials, well, I had some like stupid ass segue our last episode. It was funny as shit. Anyway, if you want to follow us on our respective socials, then you can go ahead and follow yours truly. I am a rapper. So if you would like to follow me anywhere you stream your music, you can go ahead and look me up under the name Superjaz. That's spelled Superjaz. I dropped my debut solo album a few years ago called My Secret Identity. You may have to put in Superjaz, My Secret Identity, since I'm not so famous yet. Also, you can go ahead and find me on Twitter under the name Superjaz2. That's Superjaz number 2. And of course, you can go ahead and look me up on Instagram under the name Forever Superjaz, the word forever spelled correctly. And if you happen to, you can go ahead and look me up on Facebook. I just started a production company for plays and possibly other things, but plays definitely right now, called Aquarian Rising Productions. Go ahead and like that page on Facebook. And if you happen to be in the St. Louis area, 517 Theater Lane is where we are going to have the inaugural show. The goal is to do at least one play a year. The inaugural show will be there June 16th, 2 weekends. The show is called A Colored Funeral. Look up on Facebook, Aquarian Rising Productions, and you will find all the information you need. Where can they find you, man?
Well, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube on my own channel, Feogrande. That is Feo Grande. We have a show on there where I do it with my good friend and friend of the show, Bill Smith.
Shout out to Bill.
Yep, called This Guy Hasn't Seen. I'm not sure if I referenced it on this episode, but I generally talk about it a lot. Check it out. We trade movies back and forth and other forms of entertainment, sometimes, like anime and stuff like that, and TV shows, not just movies, but we trade, pop culture back and forth. It's real fun. It's like a movie club, like book clubs. It's like a movie club between the two of us, that one guy has seen and the other hasn't, hence the premise of the show. And I believe this week we have Mission Impossible Fallout, a movie where Superman reloads his arms. That's hilarious. Yeah, but yes, he does that, which apparently was entirely improvisational. It was just kind of, and they were like, "Wait, do that again. Do what?" And they had to show him, and he's like, "Oh, okay." Anyway,
I've had that happen before when I've been like doing something in rehearsal, and they're like, "When you did the so and so, you did it again." You're like, "What? What did I do? What did I do? Are you saying it like this? Or how did I say it?" And they have to like remind you because you were so in the moment. My bad. Go ahead.
But I also have a Twitter and Twitch, Giotavi, Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. And as I said last week, can't give any details just yet, but much like my friend over here, though not to the same degree, I'm up to something.
What you told me?
It's not the same degree. It's a different thing.
Well, I was gonna say, from what you told me, it sounds cool as shit.
Yeah. So, I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
I hope
I just said it's not to say it's not producing your own show.
Well, I wasn't.
That's all I said. It's still, I'm up to something that's still awesome. That's what I said. I wasn't undermining.
When I was saying it sounds cool as shit, I wasn't talking about big. I was just saying it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it sounds dope. I'll works out.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, and I just so happened to see the last episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen, because the only reason I don't watch every episode is because I only watch the ones from movies that or whatever I have seen that y'all review.
Oh, you finally heard the stupid J.
I was about to say, Mr. Smith, I never called myself Stupid Jazz. It's just you all are not the first ones to think I said Stupid Jazz when I said Stupid Jazz. You
yourself said it. It was an episode where you were like, you may not have fully said, you definitely brought the Stupid Jazz thing into my vernacular because of the episode. You might have almost said it, or you said something similar, and you were like, it was a minute ago, buddy. Like but you were like, you probably said, I almost said Stupid Jazz, or you might have said it sounded like I said Stupid Jazz or something, and then I joked in that episode like Stupid Jazz, because
I've had people think, probably about maybe two people I can definitely think off the top of my head, that I told them my name was Superjaz, and they thought that I said stupid.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So I was like,
that might have been it, but you brought the idea of Stupid Jazz up. That was something that was an invention. As far as the two of us are concerned, we heard it first from you, but because of the whole competition y'all got going on, he's been saying.
This is a one-sided competition, by the way. This man is having a competition with himself.
I love that y'all both
jokes,
like
Bill,
saying
I'm joking.
You're right. It is one-sided because we're winning. I'll let you decide what I mean when I say we.
You mean yes, as in good job.
The good thing is I'm on both shows.
You decided to be French for it. Yes.
For the folks at home, I'm on both shows. So I'm winning the competition regardless of who's winning the competition. So yes, we're winning. So is it a competition? Really?
I'm telling you, you need to start like a Monday or a Thursday podcast with Ibn, and then therefore you have like the common denominator. You have a podcast for 3 days in a row.
Look, my editor has a job, okay? He can only edit so many shows. I haven't even had him edit anything for like my own YouTube channel that isn't TGHS or this in a minute.
Well, all that being said, whether we talk about X-Men, whether we talk about anime, whether we talk about fighting games, whether we talk about anime conventions and karaoke that may or may not have stopped, whether we talk about the musical prowess of Nickelback or Fall Out Boy, it's fucking embarrassing. You would think that by this time I would know, because we've been doing this for far too long. 2 years, apparently, which we found out last episode. What the fuck are we going to talk about next time?
Whatever we want. And yes, I do mean whatever we want. You thought just because it wasn't an XFL game this week, I wasn't going to be able to talk about nothing? No, I still picked something that started with an X. I talked about X-Men. It doesn't matter. If it starts with an X, I'm going to give it to you. Okay? Adiosness.
Be nice to yourself, everybody.